So Earth has many environmental problems, as we all know, and water pollution is ranked number 5 among these. And so why not figure out a way to reduce this water pollution in a feasible and effective way?
So the idea is to purify water, and so we found the nastiest water we could at our lake. And it was pretty yellow, it was this color. And basically is we're doing multiple tests like the bleach, iodine, the advantage, liquid concentrate, and boiling water, I think.
So the control that we applied to all of our water samples was filtration. We set up a filter using coffee filters, a layer of gravel, a layer of activated carbon, and then another layer of gravel, and with a paper towel on top. And we poured all of the water through this filter, and we let it drain out the bottom. And we filtered each sample of water about 10 times until it was clear. And then we applied our independent variable to each sample, which was the type of water purification treatment that we used. And we used 4 different types. The first one was wilderness distillation, which is essentially just boiling the water. The second one was wilderness distillation plus a few drops of advantage liquid concentrate, which is a homeopathic concentrate that people use in the real world to purify water. And our third test was bleach. We added a drop of bleach to our sample of water. And our fourth test was iodine, and we added iodine to the water. And these are 4 known methods of water purification. So we were testing to see which purification method would lead to the cleanest sample of water, which was our dependent variable. We tested the water quality in the end using a water tester kit, and we tested different factors such as pH, chlorine levels, iron levels, hardness, and things like that.
So according to the water kit, the ideal hardness would be 0 through 50. The ideal chlorine would be 0 through 2. Alkalinity would be 40 through 160. pH would be 7 through 8.5. Nitrite is 0.0 through 0.9. Nitrate is 0 through 9. Copper is 0 through 1. And iron is 0 through 0.2. Okay, so the chemistry behind the filter is basically that the gravel is meant to grab or trap big particles as like leaves and stuff from getting through to the bottom. And the carbon, it's used in many like water purification places. And the carbon has pores inside, so whenever the water is drained through it, those pores can suck up the impurities and other bad things in the water, and therefore it keeps it clean. And so if you do this multiple times, then the carbon keeps on collecting the impurities from the water, and so eventually this water will turn clear.
And the odor will go away.
And the odor will go away as well.
And the coffee filters also help to trap smaller particles that aren't caught by the carbon or the gravel.
Okay, so the chemistry behind boiling water is that the high heat temperature traps and kills a lot of the bacteria, but it doesn't remove all chemicals that could possibly be in the water.
Okay, so the methods of iodine and bleach, they both destroys the bacteria and viruses when combined with water.
So basically we wanted to have water that was the same for all treatments, so we filter the water through the gravel, the carbon, and another layer of gravel. And then after that we separated each test and researched the amount of water ratio to the amount of chemical we needed. So for iodine, we needed about 3 drops for 16 ounces. The boiling water, it doesn't matter really how much water you have, just boil it. And the advantage liquid concentrate for 8 ounces, it needed 13 drops. And then for the bleach for 16 ounces, it was only 2 drops.
So we had hypothesized that by boiling the water and adding the advantage liquid concentrate, that method will be the best, because from prior knowledge, I know that a bunch of people use this concentrate when they travel overseas to third world countries, and while they're given water, they put this concentrate in their water because it's supposed to help enhance the purification of the water, since third world countries don't have adequate purification facilities. And so with that prior knowledge, we hypothesize that this homeopathic way will be the best.
So after we treated the water, or after we filtered the water, we treated it, and then we used a water kit and we filled each of these tube thingies with water and used these strips to test them, I guess, for the ideal water and stuff.
And we compared it to the instructions. We followed the instructions to test the water samples, and then we compared it to this guide that the kit came with, and we analyzed our results and determined whether all of the levels were within the acceptable, clean water range.
So after we gathered all of our materials, the first step was to wash the gravel to make sure that it was clean before we put it in the filter. Here's how we set up our filtration system. We have our makeshift filter made from a plastic bottle we cut in half, and inside are the layers of coffee filters, gravel, activated carbon, and paper towels through which the water is drained, and the whole filter is suspended above the beaker using a ring stand. Compared to the original lake water, which you can see in the bottle on the right, the water is much clearer after a few filtrations. All of the water that we used in our experiment was passed through the filter at least 10 times. Here we are just doing a few final filtrations. As you can see, the water is already much clearer and almost ready for use. So we're just passing it through a few layers of activated carbon and coffee filters one last time just to remove any small particles. Our first water purification treatment was wilderness distillation, which involved boiling our sample of water on a hot plate. For our second treatment, we boiled another sample of water and added a few drops of advantage liquid concentrate, which is a solution containing grapefruit seed extract, green tea, and jasmine tea. For the next treatment, we added a drop of bleach to a sample of water. And for our final treatment method, we added a couple drops of iodine to a sample of water. Then we began to conduct our water purity tests using our water tester kit. For the wilderness distillation sample, we measured a copper level of 0.3, an iron level of 0.3, hardness level of 0, chlorine level of 0, alkalinity level of 180, pH level of 9.5, nitrite level of 0, nitrate level of 0, and a density of 0.81 grams per milliliter. We simply followed the instructions given to us in the water tester kit and recorded our data according to the color changes of the pads on the paper strips. We were provided a guide with all of the possible colors on it and their corresponding measurements. Here you can see us dipping 3 separate strips of paper into our water sample, which are the copper test, the iron test, and the hardness, chlorine, alkalinity, pH, nitrite, and nitrate test, respectively. And here's a picture of what the strips look like for the wilderness distillation sample. Here we are just doing the same thing and using our water tester kit to test the purity of the wilderness distillation plus advantage liquid concentrate sample, and we measured a copper level of 1.0, iron level of 0.3, hardness level of 0, chlorine level of 0, alkalinity level of 120, pH level of 8.5, nitrate level of 0, nitrate level of 0, and a density of 0.78 grams per milliliter. And here's what the paper strips look like for the wilderness distillation plus advantage liquid concentrate sample. Here we are once again using the water tester kit for the bleach sample this time. We measured a copper level of 0.6, iron level of 0.2, hardness level of 0, chlorine level of 3, alkalinity of 120, pH level of 9, nitrite level of 0, nitrate level of 2, and a density of 0.74 grams per milliliter. Here are the results of the water tester kit for the bleach sample. And here we are doing this one last time for the iodine sample. We measured a copper level of 0.6, iron level of 0.3, hardness of 100, chlorine level of 0, alkalinity of 180, pH level of 8.5, nitrite level of 0, nitrate level of 1, and a density of 0.97 grams per milliliter, which is actually very close to the density of pure water, which is 1 gram per milliliter. And this is what the paper strips looked like for the iodine sample.
So there are a lot of setbacks. Well, first, in the instructions for building a filter, it said to add sand.
Yeah.
And that went terribly wrong. The sand seeped through the carbon filter and made the water more cloudy than before.
Yeah.
So it's a lot worse than the previous lake water. So that went wrong. And then we tried to actually distill the water. And so we tried to create our own condenser with and by using tubes around the stock room. And so we basically made our own condenser, and the water vapor just completely seeped out, and it went terribly wrong. So we ended up just boiling it. And to overcome the sand, we just removed the sand completely and had to end up filtering a lot more.
After doing all the tests, the wilderness distillation passed 5 out of the 9 tests. The advantage liquid concentrate passed 8. The bleach passed 6, and the iodine passed 5.
Therefore, we can conclude that the advantage liquid concentrate plus wilderness distillation was the best method out of the ones that we tested to purify water.
Well, we now know that this homeopathic concoction that you can make yourself, it just requires jasmine and green tea and grapefruit seed concentrate, can be done at your house, and this is the best way if you're in a dire situation to purify water, and it'll get a bunch of the impurities out.
I think I speak for all of us when I say that we now appreciate clean water a lot more after spending like a week and a half just filtering our lake water to get it to be pure. So this taught us a lot about why the world struggles with water contamination problems, because it does take a huge effort to purify water. But at the same time, we also learned that it can be done, and that the methods that we used, some of them are actually very effective.
I also learned that the most effective way doesn't require a whole bunch of chemicals, because according to our test, the homeopathic wisdom of the ages liquid concentrate passed every single test beautifully except for one, and it was like an overstretch. The iron, it was almost there, so yeah, it was 0.1 off. So a lot of natural things could help enhance water, and you don't always need high-end industrial chemicals to purify your water. So Earth has many environmental problems, and water pollution is ranked number 5 among these.
I always know whatever you talk.
5, 8, 6, 5.
5, 8, 6, 5.
Yeah, we finished in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
The end.
Okay, bye. Oh my gosh.